Manage your environment. Go first class. There is a hidden force shaping your future every single day, and most people never stop long enough to recognize it. It influences your confidence, it affects your discipline, it controls your energy, it shapes your mindset, it quietly determines the standards you accept in life. That force is your environment, the people around you, the conversations you hear, the places you spend your time, the habits surrounding your daily life, the information you constantly consume, the emotional atmosphere you live inside every day. All of these things are shaping the person you are becoming. Most people believe success is only about talent, intelligence, hard work, or luck. But many highly talented people never reach their full potential simply because they remain trapped inside environments that slowly weaken their thinking. A powerful mind placed inside a negative environment eventually begins shrinking. An ambitious person surrounded by fear slowly stops dreaming big. A disciplined person surrounded by distractions slowly loses focus. A peaceful person surrounded by constant emotional chaos slowly becomes mentally exhausted. Environment affects people more deeply than they realize. This is why some people completely transform the moment they change what surrounds them. A new environment creates new thoughts. New thoughts create new actions. New actions create new habits. And new habits eventually create a new identity. Your environment is not a small detail in your life. It is one of the most powerful influences on your future. That is why successful people are intentional about where they spend time, who they spend time with, what they listen to, what they watch, and what kind of energy they allow into their life. They understand that greatness requires the right atmosphere. Just as a seed needs proper soil to grow, human beings also require the right environment to fully develop their potential. This is why protecting your environment is not selfish. It is necessary. Imagine placing an eagle inside a cage full of chickens. At first, the eagle still feels different. It still senses something powerful inside itself. It still remembers that it was born to fly. But over time, something dangerous begins to happen. The eagle watches chickens spend every day scratching the ground, never aiming higher, never attempting to fly, never believing anything greater is possible. Slowly, the eagle begins adapting to the environment. It lowers its standards. It limits its behavior. It stops believing in its own wings. Not because the eagle lost its ability to fly, but because the environment convinced it to think smaller than its true potential. This happens to human beings every single day. People are born with dreams, creativity, leadership, intelligence, and enormous potential. But many slowly lose confidence because they spend years surrounded by environments built on negativity, fear, gossip, distractions, emotional instability, and limitation. The environment slowly trains them to settle, and the dangerous part is that this process happens quietly. Most people do not even notice it. They slowly begin thinking like the people around them, complaining like them, fearing like them, avoiding risks like them, settling like them. Eventually, average thinking begins to feel normal. That is why changing your environment can completely change your life. Sometimes your next level is not waiting inside more motivation. Sometimes your next level is waiting inside a different environment. Your environment shapes your thinking. Human beings are deeply influenced by their surroundings. Your mind absorbs information constantly, even when you are not paying attention. Every conversation affects your mindset. Every habit affects your identity. Every emotional atmosphere affects your energy. This means your environment is programming your thinking every single day. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, eventually your thinking becomes negative. If you constantly surround yourself with fear, eventually your confidence weakens. If you constantly surround yourself with distractions, eventually your focus disappears. But the opposite is also true. If you surround yourself with discipline, your habits improve. If you surround yourself with growth, your thinking expands. If you surround yourself with peace, your emotional stability strengthens. Environment affects everything. This is why successful people are extremely intentional about what surrounds them. They understand that focus is valuable, peace is valuable, mental clarity is valuable, and they protect these things aggressively. Most people underestimate how much energy they lose in the wrong environment. Negative conversations drain energy, toxic relationships drain energy, chaotic lifestyles drain energy, constant distractions drain energy. Then people wonder why they feel mentally exhausted all the time. The truth is that your environment is either feeding your growth or slowly destroying your potential. Why most people remain stuck. Many people want transformation without changing their environment. They want success while staying surrounded by negativity. They want confidence while remaining around people who constantly criticize them. They want discipline while living in distraction. They want peace while remaining trapped in emotional chaos. Transformation does not work that way. You cannot continuously expose your mind to weakness and expect strength to grow naturally. Your environment either supports your future or fights against it. There are environments where ambition is mocked, where growth makes people uncomfortable, where discipline is seen as strange, where dreams are criticized, where mediocrity is normalized. People trapped in these environments often shrink themselves to fit in, not because they lack ability, but because the environment makes growth emotionally expensive. That is why many successful people eventually distance themselves from toxic environments, not because they hate people, not because they believe they are better than others, but because they understand something powerful. Protecting your mind is necessary for growth. You cannot build a strong future while constantly surrounded by emotional poison. Go first class mentally. Going first class is not just about luxury, it is about standards. It is about refusing to settle mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. It means intentionally creating environments that elevate your thinking. People often misunderstand this idea. They think high standards are about trying to impress others. But true high standards are not about ego. They are about protecting your future. Successful people understand that environment affects identity. This is why they seek environments that increase focus, confidence, discipline, peace, and growth. They expose themselves to excellence. Why? Because exposure changes thinking. When you repeatedly place yourself around higher standards, your mind begins adapting to those standards. You begin expecting more from yourself. You begin speaking differently, thinking differently, acting differently. Your environment stretches your identity. This is why exposure matters so much. Sometimes people remain stuck simply because they have never been exposed to bigger possibilities. A person raised around fear often believes fear is normal. A person raised around limitation often believes limitation is normal. But once someone enters a growth-focused environment, their imagination expands. Suddenly, they realize life can be bigger than they previously believed. The power of association. Who you spend time with matters more than most people realize. Human beings naturally absorb the attitudes, habits, emotions, and beliefs of those around them. If you constantly spend time around people who complain, eventually complaining becomes normal. If you constantly spend time around disciplined people, discipline begins influencing your life. This is why successful people are careful about association. They understand that relationships influence identity. Some people inspire growth, others drain energy. Some people challenge you to improve, others encourage excuses. Some people expand your vision, others constantly shrink it. This does not mean you must hate people, but it does mean you must protect your environment, because eventually the voices around you become the voice inside your head. And if your environment constantly feeds negativity, fear, and limitation into your mind, your confidence slowly weakens. But if your environment constantly feeds growth, discipline, peace, and ambition into your mind, your potential begins expanding. The danger of negative environments. Negative environments rarely destroy people immediately. Instead, they slowly weaken people over time. They normalize fear, laziness, excuses, victim mentality, gossip, emotional instability, low standards, small thinking. And eventually these things begin feeling normal. That is the dangerous part. When everyone around you constantly complains, positivity begins feeling unusual. When everyone around you fears change, ambition begins feeling risky. When everyone around you avoids responsibility, discipline begins feeling uncomfortable. Environment slowly shapes behavior until limitation feels natural. This is why some people remain trapped for years without realizing their environment is the problem. Their environment constantly pulls them backward. Their environment constantly drains focus and emotional energy. Their environment constantly feeds fear into their mind. Then they wonder why growth feels difficult. Peaceful environments create peaceful minds. Focused environments create productive minds. Growth-focused environments create successful people. Comfort zones destroy growth. One of the greatest dangers in life is becoming too comfortable in environments that no longer challenge you. Comfort feels safe, easy, predictable, but comfort slowly kills ambition. Growth requires stretching, learning, discomfort, adaptation. That is why successful people intentionally place themselves in environments that demand more from them. They surround themselves with higher standards, more disciplined routines, smarter conversations, greater expectations, because challenge forces expansion. The moment your environment stops challenging you, growth often slows down. This is why some people completely transform when they move into environments that require excellence. Pressure can reveal greatness. Many people do not realize how powerful they are because they have never been placed inside environments that challenge their full potential. Small changes create big transformations. Changing your environment does not always require dramatic action. Sometimes transformation begins with very small changes repeated consistently. Cleaning your room, organizing your workspace, changing your daily routine, listening to motivational content, reading more books, going to the gym, reducing distractions, limiting toxic conversations, protecting your peace, spending time in places that inspire growth. These small changes slowly reshape identity because every environment feeds something inside you. The question is, what is your current environment feeding? Is it feeding fear or confidence? Is it feeding excuses or discipline? Is it feeding distraction or focus? Is it feeding negativity or growth? Your future depends on the answer. Discipline grows better in the right environment. Many people think discipline is only about willpower, but environment plays a massive role in discipline. A distracted environment weakens focus. A chaotic environment destroys consistency. A toxic environment drains motivation. But structured environments naturally strengthen discipline. This is why high performers intentionally design environments that support productivity. They remove distractions, they create routines, they organize their spaces, they protect their mornings, they guard their focus. Because they understand something powerful, environment influences behavior. If your environment constantly tempts distraction, discipline becomes harder. If your environment supports focus, discipline becomes easier. Successful people do not rely only on motivation. They intentionally create environments that support success. Protect your peace. One of the greatest forms of wealth is peace of mind, and protecting your peace requires protecting your environment. Some people spend years surrounded by emotional chaos, drama, negativity, stress, arguments, distractions. Over time, these things destroy focus and emotional stability. That is why emotionally intelligent people become selective about environments, not because they are antisocial, but because they understand that peace is powerful. A peaceful mind thinks clearly. A peaceful mind makes better decisions. A peaceful mind creates better opportunities. Inner peace is not weakness. It is controlled strength. And in a world filled with constant noise, protecting your peace becomes one of the most important things you can do for your future. Environment and self-image. Environment affects how you see yourself. If you constantly remain around people who criticize you, doubt you, or make you feel small, eventually your confidence begins weakening. But when you enter environments where growth is encouraged, confidence expands. This is why identity transformation often begins with environmental transformation. Your surroundings influence your self-image. If your environment constantly tells you, you are not capable, you are not smart enough, you cannot succeed, eventually those beliefs settle into your subconscious mind. But positive environments can rebuild identity. Growth-focused environments rebuild confidence. Disciplined environments rebuild focus. Peaceful environments rebuild emotional stability. This is why changing your environment often changes your life. You must upgrade your standards. Everything you tolerate shapes your future, the conversations you allow, the habits you accept, the energy surrounding you. All of it influences who you become. High standards protect growth. When your standards rise, your habits improve, your focus improves, your discipline improves, your confidence improves, your environment improves. People who expect more from themselves naturally begin creating better environments. They stop tolerating constant negativity. They stop normalizing mediocrity. They stop shrinking themselves to fit into limiting spaces. Instead, they intentionally build environments that support their future. The final transformation. The moment you intentionally begin upgrading your environment, something powerful begins happening inside you. Your thinking expands, your confidence grows, your focus sharpens, your standards rise. You begin realizing that the future you desire may have been impossible to build inside the environments you previously tolerated. You stop settling for chaos. You stop normalizing negativity. You stop allowing distractions to control your life. Instead, you begin building a life intentionally. You choose discipline. You choose peace. You choose growth. You choose excellence. And slowly, your identity transforms because powerful environments create powerful people. Your environment is shaping your future every single day, whether you realize it or not. The people around you influence your thinking. The information around you influences your mindset. The places around you influence your standards. The energy around you influences your emotional state. Everything surrounding you is either helping you grow or slowly keeping you small. If you want a different future, you must intentionally create a different environment. Protect your peace, protect your focus, protect your standards, protect your energy. Surround yourself with growth, discipline, wisdom, ambition, learning, positivity, and purpose. Because average environments create average lives, but powerful environments create powerful people. You were never meant to live trapped inside environments that constantly weaken your confidence, drain your energy, and limit your future. You were created for growth, for purpose, for greatness. But greatness requires the right environment. Sometimes the breakthrough you need is not more motivation. Sometimes the breakthrough is finally removing yourself from environments that no longer support who you are becoming. Your future begins changing the moment your environment changes. So go first class mentally, go first class emotionally, go first class spiritually, go first class physically. Raise your standards, protect your peace, choose environments that expand your thinking, and watch your entire life transform. If this message inspired you, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss another powerful upload. This channel is dedicated to motivation, mindset transformation, emotional intelligence, discipline, self-improvement, personal growth, success habits, and powerful life lessons designed to help you unlock your full potential. Comment below. What kind of environment are you choosing to build for your future? And remember, your environment can either limit your future or unlock the greatness already inside you.